Hi, my name is Frank Frausto. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for EQIFi, and I'm very happy to be joined today by the one and only Mr. Brad Yasar, the Chief Executive Officer for EQIFi. Brad, thanks for joining me here today.
Excited to be here, Frank.
It's awesome that we are here in the same place at the same time and have an opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the questions that a lot of people in the EQIFi community are asking about. What makes the products unique? How should I use the products? Those types of things. And so over the next few minutes, I'm very happy to spend some time talking in this fireside chat about what some of the answers to those questions are. Let's start with just EQIFi at a high level. A lot of people want to know the origin story of EQIFi. How did you and Jason, the chairman of EQIFi, come up with the idea of a DeFi with the backing of an actual bank? What's the story there? Why EQIFi?
Well, Jason and I, a few years back, were looking at what's happening in DeFi and how we can do something within the space and do something impactful that's going to better the ecosystem and not just do another project that's a replica of something already is out there in the market. So we thought about why and what problems we can solve. And on the banking side, obviously the biggest issue that Jason saw was the negative interest rates, fees, a lot of the things that ate into people's bank accounts. And on the DeFi side, it was relatively simple. It was the lack of access to the value created in that space in people's everyday lives. So people created a lot of value in the space, and it was locked in the DeFi pools. It couldn't be used for anything else. It wasn't easily accessible. So we decided we can create a platform that bridges the divide between traditional banking and decentralized finance, bring the two together, and solve for both those problems.
Let's talk about some of the problems with those banks, because that is a major challenge for most of us when we are trying to save long term or we're trying to get a return, is that banks make it difficult for you to get a return on your money. You invest your money or put your money into a bank, which we're all taught to do from a very early age, but that's not necessarily the most efficient or effective use of those funds. A lot of people, depending on the country that you're in, maybe only get a small percentage, 0.5%, quarter over quarter or year on year for those funds, or in some countries, there's actually a negative interest rate. The bank charges you money to have your money there, but in return, that bank is investing your money and making really, really high yields off of that as well. Talk a little bit about some of those challenges with working with a traditional bank, or why banks operate that way.
Well, I mean, I'm a third generation banker. So banking is a profitable business. It's unfortunately not that profitable for the account holders at the banks, because in the past couple of decades we've seen the value proposition of having a savings account, a CD account, even an interest-bearing checking account disappear from the banking industry. I recall the time when you could have a meaningful interest on your funds in just your regular bank, and fast forward to today, just like you said, there are negative interest rates, and people are dealing with fees on top of the negative interest rates. So that has to change, and one of the ways that we thought we could change that is through the use of the very significant returns yield you can get from decentralized finance products that don't exist in the traditional banking world. What we've seen looking and analyzing the DeFi world is there are a lot of new products and projects that are creating value at a never before seen velocity, and that value, if properly and compliantly translated over to traditional banking, would be a game changer. And that's what we're doing with EQIFi.
Yeah. One of the challenges in banking is the lack of innovation, the lack of technology. A lot of banks are still using the same platform, the same technology from the 1970s. They're resistant to leverage blockchain, even though there are numerous benefits there. And that is really central to why EQIFi was created as well, is to merge banking plus the technology of DeFi at the same time. I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of technology and banking.
Yes, Frank. I mean, just the way you described it, there has been a lot of resistance to implementing new technology. And that's because of the size of some of these institutions. Being small and nimble in this industry is not always, but in this instance, a big advantage. Because when you look at big banks and everything they need to do to implement even a small change into their technology stack, it's a monumental task. I mean, they're multinationals, they need to be compliant in different jurisdictions. That compliance means that the systems need to be set up a certain way. So for them to innovate is really slow. And I don't think it's because they don't want to. I think it's because it's just the difficulties, the challenges of even implementing something. A small change is so large that it gets pushed to the next time and the next time and the next board meeting. With EQIBank and EQIFi, we're small and nimble enough to be able to test, prove, and then deploy any technology that is going to give us that technological advantage in being able to serve a larger group of people. And access being one of our tenets, that's very important for us. We want to use technology to bring banking and finance and decentralized finance products and services to as many people as we can.
Yeah, and not only that, but as you mentioned, these banks are huge multinational monoliths. The other thing that we're hearing from a lot of people when it comes to dissatisfaction with banks is they don't have any kind of relationship with their bank. They give their money, and it's a very one-sided relationship. You are very much, if you have a traditional bank that holds your money, you're very much treated like a customer of that bank. And we at EQIFi wanted to treat our users more like partners in EQIFi rather than just customers. And one of those ways is we pass on a lot of the yield that a traditional bank would just take and hold on to. Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of how, you know, the nature of working with a DeFi like EQIFi with the backing of EQIBank is different and a different relationship than a lot of people that are out there with a just standard banking account?
Well, the future of banking is going to be decentralized. So as you become more decentralized, that brings transparency into the products and the services you provide. If you look at traditional banking, when you see 0.5% interest on your checking or savings account, they don't necessarily tell you where that interest is coming from or how much of the profits that they made with that product they're sharing with you. So that opacity creates that disconnect between the real returns the banks are getting today and what they are willing to pass on to the customers. With EQIFi, we are taking the exact opposite route. We are transparent and we're showing people that much higher yields on their money is possible, and the majority of that goes to them. And that's because we're here to, again, serve our partners, as you put it, our customers, the people who come to our platform to have a better financial future, as opposed to just looking at them and saying, you're a number, you know, you're a numbered account, and this is it, take it or leave it. That take it or leave it attitude has been unfortunately prevalent in banking lately, and we want to change that. We want people to feel that we care about their well-being, and the products and services that we create are designed to serve them, not to self-serve us.
Yeah. Okay, so the problems with banks are numerous. There's lack of technology, they don't share in the yields, there's maybe some trust issues, certainly issues on the DeFi side as well in terms of lack of trust or transparency. Am I missing anything?
No. I mean, on the DeFi side, obviously, we have the lack of access issue. That's the biggest. Mm-hmm. All the value created in DeFi gets stuck in those pools in that ecosystem and doesn't translate into people's everyday lives. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest problem that we wanted to solve for. We believe DeFi businesses are legitimate businesses, and unless there's some blatant disregard for compliance and or regulation, most of them should have access to banking. And so far, even the best projects, fully regulated, licensed within the jurisdiction that they operate in for what they're doing, have been to a certain extent disconnected from regular banking, which in turn punishes the users of the said platforms and the creators and the investors, because they're not able to get that value out and enjoy it in their everyday lives. So we wanted to solve for all these things. We understood that we're not going to change the traditional banking industry. It's going to continue to be what it is. And we also understand that DeFi needs to take a more transparent, mature state of operating to be appealing to a larger group of people. And with EQIFi, we're trying to take the best of both worlds, be backed by a fully licensed and regulated bank, EQIBank, and at the same time, help and serve as many people as possible with a decentralized approach and still being fully compliant, but allowing as many people as possible to benefit from our platform.
And that's really the origin story of EQIFi, right? It's through all of those problems and challenges, we wanted to create something that really stands in the gap and is the best of both worlds. And what was created was really the first of its kind DeFi platform with the backing of a fully licensed and regulated bank, correct?
That is correct. So EQIBank is a global bank. It has the ability to serve people in 180 countries, and powered by that is EQIFi platform. That's a global DeFi platform that is serving as many markets as we can within regulation and restrictions that are out there in the international community. And I think the value of that, being the pioneer, is we want to show people you can be compliant, you can be regulated, and still innovate, still use blockchain, still give high yields to your users. Those two are not incompatible. Those two things can coexist and coexist successfully. So a successful EQIFi means a successful future for DeFi and banking to come together and reach more people. That's our ultimate goal.
I want to talk a little bit about Yield Aggregator. It's the product that I am most excited about. And it's a DeFi product based around liquidity pools.
Perfect.
Yep.
If we could just pick up from that question.
Sure.
Perfect.
I want to talk a little bit about...
Sorry, and rolling in the comes to roll. Okay, fantastic. And I'm set whenever you're ready.
So EQIFi really consists of a few different products. The one that I am most excited about is the Yield Aggregator product. I think there are so many use cases for it. It's going to be very popular. It already is very popular. And I want to talk about the yields that it is producing in a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the problems and challenges that it solves as well. From my perspective, it's, as an investor, I have so many different options, and based off of my risk assessment or risk tolerance and everything, I can manage all of my investments. but it requires so much time, effort, and energy. If only there was something that could automate or aggregate those returns for me in a passive way, and hence Yield Aggregator was born. Tell us a little bit about Yield Aggregator and some of the challenges there.
Of course. So when we started EQIFi, we thought, what would be the first product that's gonna be familiar to people, both in the traditional finance and DeFi communities, and that's going to resonate the most. And we thought borrowing lending is going to be probably the easiest to explain. So the first product we started building with EQIFi, as you know, was the variable rate borrowing and lending. Then we started circulating all 4 product ideas among our close circles to see how people perceived it. And the fixed rate borrowing lending was well understood, but because there are other platforms doing it and doing it very successfully, that wasn't innovative. Interest rate swaps were unheard of and not that common, although it's a simple and elegant product that allows you to go from a fixed rate product to variable and vice versa. It wasn't common practice for retail investors. But the Yield Aggregator was extremely innovative because I personally was spending about 2 hours a day trying to find best liquidity pool to put my funds into for a short term until it lost the amount of activity in it. Because as you know, liquidity pools return fees, and those fees are based on the volume of activity. More activity, more fees, better returns. And so it was becoming a demanding task every day to monitor all these pools. And I thought it would be a very innovative, exciting product if we had a yield aggregator that aggregated yields from different liquidity pools into one product that people can simply go in and know that frequently it's been reassessed and reassigned for the higher returns. So that idea really resonated with a lot of people, not because they were familiar with it, but because they understood the arduous process of picking the right liquidity pool to put funds in and understanding the blockchain that it's in and getting the right assets to participate in that pool so you can get the fees. And all these hurdles made people aware of the opportunity but not partake in it. And with the Yield Aggregator, we were able to simplify the process to a product, well, 3 different yield products, one more stable for lower risk investors, middle grounds one that gives exposure to a little bit more volatile assets, but still is relatively lower risk tolerance, and a very active pool. And all the 3 of these pools have performed beyond our expectations in the last 3 months.
So before we get into the returns, how does it work at a high level? I know you're a coder, you can break things down to the algorithmic levels, but for something so intelligent for me to go in and put an investment tell it what my risk tolerance is, and then automatically have it optimize my money around the liquidity pools where I'm getting the best return, there's got to be some serious technology around that. At a high level, how does it work? How does it do that?
It is exciting technology. So it's relatively simple. Every day, the system takes a snapshot of the blockchains that we are compatible with, then looks at the different pools and does an analysis, risk analysis, 12-point risk analysis on the pools, risk return. And then the best ranking ones are proposed to be the next bucket of investments for that pool. So really high level, that is, and then an allocation is made based on the category that the funds are in. If it's a stable category, it only goes to the best performing ones with stable coin pairs. If it's mid-tier, then it has some Ethereum and other volatile assets in it, but it goes into that. And if it's the most volatility, most return, then it goes into that pool. So at a really high level, we take snapshots. We have a risk assessment system that we developed that eliminates high-risk pools, that eliminates promotional APYs, because there are projects out there that say, hey, you can earn 2,000% APY.
Sure.
That's great if you're going to monitor that specific pool every day, every hour, every minute. So if something goes wrong, you can get your funds out. But if you want to have peace of mind and you want to have a less hands-on, more passive income approach, those are not ideal, because eventually those promotional budgets are going to run out and returns are going to disappear. And probably the pools are going to disappear, because no one's going to want to be in a pool where they went from 2,000% APY to 2 or something like that. So we assess for those risks, eliminate the outliers, and work with the best possible options, and then do the allocation. At a really high level, that's it. Of course, this is done programmatically with some human supervision, and we try to make it as transparent and hands-off as possible, so that there are no question marks. There's as little risk as possible at each step of the way. We're very proud of the security systems we have in place, and again, with all the hacks and exploits that are going in the industry, we want to give people peace of mind that this is a bank-grade product, and we stand behind it.
And all of that is done automatically through the built-in technology. That is all of the work and all the research that I, as an investor and trader, would be having to do every single day, down to the minute, down to the hour, taking a look at the past, present, future performance, weighing that against my risk tolerance, figuring out what the optimal play is. But Yield Aggregator does all that for me, and I just get to enjoy kind of the yield or the return, which is one of the reasons why it's my favorite product. But my other favorite reason why it's my favorite product is because of the returns that they're getting. So Yield Aggregator has been out there and open for people to invest in for the last few months. Tell everybody, Brad, what the return has been for those people that were early adopters into the Yield Aggregator product.
Well, for the first 3 months that it was live in real markets, not back testing, not any simulation or anything, we've seen over 70% APY.
70%
yes,
APY.
Which is industry leading as far as the returns go. We have quite a few other projects working on returning positive yields and better than traditional banking and finance yields out there. And I haven't seen anything that even comes close to what we have. Now, again, I want to come back in 6 months and be able to say it's still there.
Right.
Because this is a market activity and a based product. And so in 6 months, it could be much higher, it could be slightly lower. It is a moving target. But for the first 3 months, we've seen over 70%. And if we can continue that, everyone on the EQIFi team is going to be very proud after 12 months to report the results.
Absolutely. And I mean, there are so many applications of that. I mean, what would you do with an extra 70% APY asset in your portfolio? The thing that I really love about Yield Aggregator is that it's more lucrative than any of my current traditional investments. That's way better return than the stock market. That's way better than real estate. That's way better than any kind of retirement or 401k product that I've gotten. But it's much safer than traditional cryptocurrency because it's algorithmically based. It's got the underlying technology and the backing of EQIBank behind it as well. So it really marries the best of both worlds, which is one of the reasons why I am very much a fan of the Yield Aggregator product. Let's talk a little bit about EQX. EQX is the underlying sort of coin that is used within the EQIFi system to enhance the overall results for EQIFi. So I can go in, and even if I know nothing about crypto, I can still use EQIFi without EQX, but I'd love to hear a little bit about what EQX is and why did we decide to use a coin like EQX within the EQIFi ecosystem?
Well, EQX is our native token. So, and for those who don't know, it's a utility token that enhances the experience on our platform. Why we created EQX was basically a need to incentivize users in a way that's aligned with the growth of the platform as well as growth of their assets on the platform if they decide to become active users. So what we wanted to accomplish with the introduction of the token was give a way to reward our active users. If you like using the platform, if you have a favorite product like you said, Yield Aggregator is my favorite product.
Love it.
It's mine too. Now you may want to look at the tiers we have on the platform and see if the amount of investment you have on the platform warrants an investment in EQX for what it does to your existing investments. So by having this utility token that enhances your experience, we're able to give you higher limits, better rates, either higher returns if it's a lending or yield product, lower interest if you're borrowing, as well as removing some of the limits and opening it up to the banking products. It just empowers the user on the platform to have a better experience. At the end of the day, the experience should be great for non-EQX holders. That's our goal. We want to have a platform that's welcoming everyone. But for our power users, we wanted to have a way to reward them and recognize their loyalty and be able to do something. And the token is our way of doing that. More tokens you have staked, better everything gets to a point where you may have 5-10% additional points on products compared to someone just testing it out and just trying to see if it's a good fit for them.
Let's talk about something exciting that a lot of people are talking about. It's not necessarily something that people think about when they're talking about DeFi and banking. Let's talk about the Metaverse. What is the Metaverse? Why does it have you so excited? And what are EQIFi's plans for the Metaverse?
Well, what is Metaverse is it's basically a virtual environment. It can be a city, it can be a world, it can be just a plot of land that exists out there on the ether, and people can enter it and experience it firsthand. Depending on how it's built, it can be a VR experience, it can be AR, it can be on a screen, it can be on your mobile device. So Metaverse can be everything and anything. It's just a virtual environment that you can interact with other people and other things. Why I'm extremely excited about it is because of our number one tenet, which is giving access to financial products and banking to people. Through a presence in the Metaverse, I believe we can reach out to a larger group of people and empower them to access our products and services. So that's exciting. The other one is our other tenant, which is bridging different blockchains, different metaverses, different things together to create one hub where people can access all their value that they created, both fiat as well as crypto, in one location. So with the proliferation of metaverses, there's now I think 12 or 14 of them out there, the major ones. We want to be the connector, the financial connector between those, and be able to empower people to create value in a metaverse and then take that value out and use it in another metaverse, or even better, in real life. With a lot of play-to-earn games, also making their debuts and connecting with metaverses or creating a metaverse for the play-to-earn model. I think this is a great opportunity to, again, prove that you can, in a licensed, regulated manner, have a play-to-earn metaverse or game and carry that value out to your everyday life with a card issued by EQIFi that allows you to spend the in-game currency, play-to-earn currency, for food, for rent, for transportation. So we want to connect the two worlds. When we started this, we said we're going to be the bridge that bridges the divide between traditional banking, everyday life, and DeFi and crypto. Now with DeFi and crypto growing into metaverses and growing into play-to-earn environments, we still want to be that connector. So that's why I'm very excited about the opportunity and looking forward to being, again, a pioneer in connecting metaverses together, connecting metaverses with real life, and allowing people to create value wherever they want, whether it's in a game, in a metaverse, in real life, and be able to seamlessly have access to it wherever they are, virtual or real.
So EQIFi is going to quite simply be the bank of the metaverse, it sounds like, or that is our goal, our intention. What is that going to look like? If I log in, let's say I'm playing a game, will there actually be EQIFi branches that I can go into within the game and then pull money from maybe my EQIBank or my EQIFi account into that actual metaverse and spend it, and vice versa? If there's play to earn, I can take those funds and then invest that in the EQIFi platform. How would this actually work once this is all fully formed?
I think both of those are going to be possible. The shape of the interaction, is it going to be a building? Is it going to be a kiosk, an ATM? Is it going to be a zone that you teleport into? I don't know. That's going to depend on the limitations and the futures of the metaverse that we're working within. But the interaction and the value transfer is going to be seamless. So you're going to be able to play to earn, take that value out, go buy food, or work hard in your day job, then log into your virtual metaverse and be able to buy virtual land, buy some avatar enhancements, whatever you want to do with that money. And we're just going to be the seamless, the platform that seamlessly connects the value transfer from one individual to another, or from one realm to the other, whether virtual or real.
Amazing, amazing. I know it's early days for things like the metaverse, and it's maybe a ways off. We are partnered with quite a few metaverses already. What is if you had to guess, ballpark, when could we start to see these metaverses really take off, and when might we expect to see EQIFi in some in-game play or inside the metaverse?
We're already positioned to be in some of the launches coming up next year. So as early as next year, we're going to have virtual presence in a few metaverses.
As early as 2022?
That is correct.
Wow.
That is correct. When will we see the full-fledged of the product suite and what it's going to look like? Again, it's hard to tell. I'd say 2 to 3 years maximum. I see EQIFi being an integral banking partner, DeFi partner for all the metaverses out there. But what shape it takes, what types of interactions, that's a discovery process we're going to go through with the metaverse founders and developers and our development team, so we make it as native and as exciting as possible. No one wants to be in a 3D virtual metaverse and have to click out to a browser window to use their browser to do their financial activities. So we're going to find ways to create immersive experiences and immerse ourselves in that ecosystem, so that whatever it is it a futuristic metaverse? Do we have a futuristic interaction? Is it a legacy metaverse? Do we need to have pixelated graphics? And how do we do
Old
that?
Western.
We'll figure that out. But the seamless transition and usability and access is going to be key.
Brad, it's been awesome talking with you. Thank you very much. I know there's a lot of exciting things to come for EQIFi in 2022 and beyond. If somebody wants to learn more, somebody wants to actually use the platform, have a question for us, where can they go to learn more or send those questions our way?
If anyone wants to learn more about EQIFi, of course, the best place is our website, EQIFi.com. That's EQIFi.com. And that's updated regularly. You can find the latest products and news and updates that we have on the website. We also have a Telegram group that's active, and you can ask live questions there too.
Thank you, Brad. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned for more content and more updates at EQIFi.com.